Well, hi there, and welcome to yet another showcase of an Evolve Alliance provider member. I am so thrilled to have with me right now Alisdair Barr from Striver. Hey, Ali.
Hi, Sue. Thank you very much. It's really great to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Oh, we love to have you with us. Now, tell me a little bit about Striver. Who are you? What do you do for the uninitiated?
Yeah, so what we focus on is getting the best university graduates into great financial planning firms and helping them grow into long-term, really strong contributing staff members. And that's sort of really our focus, helping that new entrant into the profession and making that connection meaningful.
Outstanding. So you're a recruiter?
Oh, look, I guess people can say that and it makes it easy to people understand. But what we don't do is we don't get experienced people. We don't move people around the profession. We focus on the last 8 years on net growing the profession with new entrants, which comes with some issues, like because they are brand new, they generally don't have any experience in financial planning. But that also has a lot of opportunity. So we are net grow. We don't move people around profession, but we certainly support businesses with their resourcing of people.
So you don't take your big chunky fee and then come back to the recruit 6 months later after your non-compete's finished and put them in another role.
And we don't, no, we don't do that. But we actually don't even if there's somebody in a firm that we've never worked with or so forth that's looking to move, we don't get involved with that. We'll work with people who are not currently working or are returning to work or are career changing or university graduates are coming in. But if people are sitting in firms, as I said, even if they're not our clients, we're not going to take them out. We're really pro the profession. I've been in it 21 years. I'm passionate about it like most of our clients or all of our clients. And so we want a net growth and a sustainable growth of the profession. So we don't move people around it. There's definitely a role there and a need for that. And that's fantastic, but we don't play that.
No, and look, I absolutely attest to your passion for this profession. I've known you for many years now, Ali, and in every role you've had, you are a massive advocate for great financial advice. And I'm really thrilled to have you on today because it's something that our coaches are speaking to a lot of our firms about. I mean, right now we're towards the tail end of 2021. We haven't even yet seen the massive impact. I don't think I'm going to call it a skills shortage for now. I think we're getting towards a war for talent, but we know that there's a huge number of advisors exiting the industry, and with the new education standard, it's going to take a long time before we get enough people in to replace. So every firm that we're working with right now is looking at their long-term growth strategy because most firms are wanting to grow, and we sort of see that there's a number of different ways that they can do it. They can either get really clear on their efficiencies and their client engagement style so they can ensure that every qualified advisor they have can service more clients if they're going to grow. And we love that whole team serviced approach, not just have a one-on-one relationship. Or they think about going out and recruiting new experienced people, in which case that's going to get more and more difficult over time. Or, and this is exactly what we're talking about today, grow from within. So invest in really great grads that are going to come through. They might actually come through the admin and then paraplanning and then advising, but grow your own talent, put them through their PY so that when you're needing another advisor in 3, 4, 5, however many years, and we'll talk about that, then you've got somebody that you've trained, you haven't got bad habits that you're inheriting. So it's a fantastic...
You've got loyalty.
You've got loyalty, absolutely. So it's a brilliant business strategy. And there's, as with so many things, the devil's in the detail, right? And this is where you guys come in. So give me a bit of background on how long you've been around, how you kind of got to the point that Striver's at now.
Yeah, so I worked for other people in distribution and dealer groups up until about 2013. Then I set up what was Grad Mentor and then Striver. So we bring kind of a real commercial focus to that. We rebranded and digitized our business just over 2 years ago, September 19, 2019. Yes. And that's just to allow us to do and understand our clients better and do more of it. And so that's what we've built, and that's what we do. And we're supporting about 400 businesses at the moment. We're putting maybe sort of 10 to 15 new entrants entering the financial planning firms or profession every month at the moment. And that's kind of, we've learned a lot through that. And, you know, also we have some fantastic, I was just dealing with a client yesterday, you know, probably one of the first students we put into a business like 7 or 8 years ago, equity owner, hiring manager, just textbook, right? And that's what we'd like to sort of see more of and sort of growing people into it. But, and we've learned sort of the pathways and how to get it right and what firms should look for. And the firms that we work with, Sue, like you said, are all in growth mode, right? I think there's some really interesting things that are going to happen in the profession from you know, reducing number of advisors at the moment to not enough people coming in, and there's a lot of, you know, false numbers being bantered around about that. We're on the coalface, we know what's coming in, and there's a massive shortage. And then how businesses are kind of, you know, digitizing and becoming more efficient, and also becoming more broader business. Like we have financial planning businesses looking for technology staff and marketing staff and all sorts of components in there. So we've been at that for 8 years and really watched it evolve and stayed really in touch with that.
Yeah. And I know that you've brought a lot of those learnings to the benefit of the clients that get their grads through you. So I've talked a little bit about a couple of the problems that you're solving, but I love this question, you know, what problems are you solving for advisors? So why don't we go through them? So why don't we start right back at the getting your head around actually hiring a grad in the first place? What are the problems typically firms would see without your type of service?
Yeah, well, so the interesting thing about hiring young people who are new to the profession, they might have been working in Woolworths or something else, but they've got no form, right? They've got no experience. You can't go and find them on LinkedIn and say, because you've been doing that job for the last 3 years, we think that we should be having a chat to you about whether or not you. So we don't have that experience or that track record in something that's directly similar. So that's one issue. The second thing is, you know, they're the next generation, they're young, they're different to us, they want everything yesterday. You know, there's this sort of thought. Obviously, COVID's brought flexibility, which used to be quite a dirty word, to a you can't avoid it word. And so how do we work with young people in a flexible environment, in a digital environment? How do we onboard, train and grow people that have never been working in an office environment? That's got its challenges and so forth. So that's what part of like evolving with this journey over the last 8 years has been like, how do we actually onboard, train and develop a 22-year-old into our firm digitally?
Great.
There's a problem, right?
Yeah, that's a massive problem. And so you're providing support to the firms to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, and also helping them pick the person, right? So like a lot of our firms are different in many, many, many ways, right? And everybody's unique, and we understand that. There's kind of a bunch of common traits in sort of, you know, privately owned financial services firms when it comes to hiring people, right? They're going to, and I think it's the same with the business that we run when we hire people. We want people that have got good attention to detail, a good work ethic, want to treat it like a career, not a job, and do a little bit more than is expected of them. And that's what
those people exist.
Well, 100%. And so it's hard to sort of sit there and go, oh, well, we've seen you working for the last 5 years in this firm over here, and you've done X, Y, and Z, and so forth. So what are the things that can demonstrate those traits in transferable skills that, say, like a textbook university graduate's done, right? And so we look at things, and I'm going to give away some of the secret sauce here. Why not? In that, you know, we look for people that have worked in anywhere that they can demonstrate teamwork, time management, and working under pressure. So we look for people who've worked in hospitality, right? They've dealt with terrible customers. They worked under pressure, like, you know, there's a busy period in a restaurant or whatever. You know, they've packed shelves at Woolworths all night. Like, they've worked in team under time pressure. Their attention to details had to be important, because if they start putting, you know, the tomato sauce where the mustard is and so forth, it's no good. So we look at transferable skills. We like people that have, you know, played team sports or been, you know, involved in their faith or involved in Army Reserves or things like that, that can bring kind of an awareness of how actions impact others. And so we actually look at, like, What are those things? People that have been on gap years, obviously that's a bit harder these days, and people who have volunteered in certain things, people who've worked in family businesses, you know, they're not above picking up the phone. They know that hierarchies can flatter. So we look at all of those things and sort of see how they might relate to a privately owned firm compared to going and working at, you know, a PwC.
Yeah, great. Well, look, hey, it would be a good time right now, Ali, for us to play, rather than just listening to you and I talk about you, let's listen to one of your advice firms who have utilised Striver in their firms, and we'll let them tell you of their experience.
Great.
Hi, I'm Andrew Dunbar, Director of Appt Wealth Partners.
How have you engaged with Striver and used them in your business?
Yeah, I've used the Striver graduate program for a couple of years now, and I attend a graduate mentoring session once every month or so. And I suppose I've found two things. One, it's a really good way to give back to the young graduates coming through looking to start their career, you know, giving them some advice and tips and mentoring. And then two, it's a fantastic way to look for the best graduates coming through all the universities. We've hired a number of graduates now through the program, and it's been a key contributor to our Next Gen program at Appt Wealth.
What benefits has working with Striver had on your business?
Appt's got a next generation program that we run to bring through the best talent in the industry. There's a shortage of talent at the moment, with advisors exiting the industry, barriers to entry with new education standards and so forth. So we've got a multi-pronged next generation strategy to bring through interns, graduates, and young developing advisors and put them through our professional year. And the Striver program's been key to having the first look at the best of those graduates coming through the university, and it's working really well.
Would you recommend Striver to other advisors?
Yeah, finding the next generation of talent is absolutely key at the moment, and I would highly recommend Striver to other firms that are looking to expand their next generation programs.
So that's a great example of exactly what I was talking about before, right, Ali? You know, a firm that really is looking to the long-term future sustainability and putting clearly a very well-structured program in place to build their future talent. Is it only firms like Andrew's that are the larger firms that use you? Obviously, they've placed quite a few people with you over the years.
Yeah, we've got a mix of clients. We've got ones that sort of come back and hire regularly and have a really clear career path. But we've also got other businesses that will come to us when they have an urgent need, or they have, you know, a big workload that's come on quickly, and they see this as an opportunity to actually invest in, you know, there's a good time now to take on somebody. So we have, you know, ad hoc service, and we have, you know, a sort of more structured process with larger firms that sort of have an ongoing process, ongoing need. And I think what we've designed here and what we want to be known for is just being there when you need us. So, you know, our platform's kind of easy to use, no cost, no obligation. And when people need us, we're there, and we provide heaps of content and heaps of support on how might you structure that. And obviously that business has got structure and got rigor and got sort of clear intakes and so forth, where others go, well, I need somebody now, what can you do? And I'm like, well, we're here, we can do that, we can support you getting that person on board and ready to go.
Yeah. So take me through your process right from the beginning. How do you find, you know, Andrew was, I don't know if you wrote that script for him, clearly you didn't, but, you know, he said they get first crack at the very best graduates. What does Striver do in terms of, let's start with finding the recruits first of all?
Yeah, and I think this is probably key to something we've discussed before, is that we spend all our time, effort, and energy talking to and jumping up and down and attracting and at universities. Like, we've got 13 different ways we attract students. We're in universities all the time. We're producing content all the time. We're jumping up and down all the time in front of that cohort of that audience.
And this is national, right? Not just in Sydney.
Everywhere. And so, you know, when people say, well, we could do that yourself, and you can, right? You can go and build a relationship with a uni, you can go and do that. But if that's not your core business, what I'm saying is that we do this all day, every day. So we're aiming to have another 12,000 students in the next 12 months from many different facets coming onto our platform and saying, we want your support, Striver, in finding a job. And then what we do from there, so they come in through these various different ways. And then our technology does a bit of the heavy lifting and filters them and puts them into different categories. And then we do a face-to-face screening at the moment. So that's sort of a half-hour sit down via Zoom, obviously, which allows us to be national more effectively. And then based on that, we do psychometric assessments and personality assessments. And then we do a coaching session. And then we present 5 to 7% of those on our platform. So when businesses come to our events or businesses set up a profile and they see these candidates, they're seeing the top 5%. They're not seeing all of them and having to sort of, so we've done all the vetting, all the heavy lifting, all the sorting, and with our knowledge of business and what I mentioned earlier around, attention to detail and so forth, they're the filters that we're using in our process, so that when you see them on there, they should stand out and they should be strong, and you should look at 2 or 3 of them and go, well, we're done. That's fine. That's the one we're going to hire, and we're always there. So it's not like you're coming to us saying, look, we're looking for Sue in northern beaches of Perth and in this demographic and these skill sets and so forth, and go and find her. We don't do that. But if you come on and say, this is what I'm looking for, and put into the filters that search criteria, we'll pop them up and we'll say, these are the ones we recommend. Do you want to interview them? Let's get them in front of you and hire them. And they can start straight away.
Yeah. So are you finding that firms are looking for advisors that they can grow, or, and I'm hearing that this is a great pathway to a career paraplanner, to employing an admin person that's got some education behind them?
Yeah, so that's interesting too, right? Because obviously the career path for a straight out of high school into university, finish their degree, to becoming a fully fledged advisor in any of the firms that we work with and have ever worked with, even before education standards were a thing, there's going to be a 3-year experience minimum, right? So that gives us plenty of time, and it allows us to, deal with the education requirements. And I can talk all day about that. We won't talk about that now, but I'm obviously all over that stuff. And then, so there's a 3-year journey. And so getting them to becoming a fully fledged advisor minus the professional year, there's 2 years where they will be administration, client service, paraplanning, so forth. And, they might be on the journey to becoming an advisor, or they might not, or they might, enjoy being, you might like them in their admin role, you might want them in paraplanning role, you might want them in the more of an operations management role in the firm. You've got time to work that out, but generally they enter into customer service, client admin, or trainee paraplanner.
Right. And that in and of itself, I think, advisors, if they're looking through recruitment lenses, when I'm trying to find an admin person, I wouldn't use a service like you. I think that's really short-sighted, because I know right now I've got 3 firms that are looking for experienced client admin people in advice firms, and there's just not that many around. So talk me through that line of thought, though, is to say, ideally everybody always wants to find somebody with some experience, right? I just wanted them to hit the ground running and start servicing my clients, know how to do applications, know how to follow up lodgements, all that. Talk me through, if they're getting a grad instead of having somebody experienced, what's the difference in terms of training, in terms of salary, and tell me about all that.
Good. So I've talked about this for a long time. There's the positives and the negatives of a graduate. So we understand there's an experienced market. We don't play in it. We have recruitment partners that can play in it, and other people that will play in it. But we certainly, the minute someone says we have experience, we sort of carve that away. So we understand the position of hiring someone experienced. But the benefits, I'll just talk about the benefits of a grad, and you can work out whether that negatives apply to the other side of it, is that you get them fresh, you get them with a clean set of eyes. You have no, this is how we used to do it at so-and-so. There's no bad habits. You get to grow them your way. All right. So that's the first thing. Their salary is cheaper, but the flip side of that is that there's more time involved in training them. So we're not naive around that. So yes, the entry point's a bit lower, but that means that you can, grow them over periods of time into a salary that you'd expect them to experience by, creating goals and development goals and all sorts of things linked to it. So that can create a really good longer term journey. And then if you do that well, you can create loyalty. So by the time you're putting them through a professional year and they've been in your firm for 2 years, you know them, they know you, you want to invest in them, they want to invest in you. And so you're not making that leap of faith, just meeting someone, putting in a professional year and hoping to God it works.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you put some structure around that, but that loyalty, so you're building loyalty. The pay cost is lower, but that comes with the flip side of training costs, and you get to grow them your way. Which I think, you know, if you're a business that has a future that wants to hang around and wants to grow and develop, you should be using a combination of both of those things. You should definitely be growing your own and building up your pipeline. And then if you need people experienced to come and hit the ground running and so forth, or you've got more urgent needs, then sure, take someone experienced, or bring those two strategies together and work them in harmony.
Yeah. And often we find that, you know, it works really well. I mean, if you're a firm that you only have one client service person and you've lost somebody with lots of experience, you're probably not going to put a grad in if they're the only person. But if you do have other staff members on board who do have that experience, they can do that training and mentoring. It doesn't always have to fall back on the principal to provide that. But the other thing that we do quite often see is that when you do get fresh eyes into a business, quite often that does allow them to bring new ideas and to say, oh, and it helps everybody to look back and go, oh, why do we do it that way? Well, let's not do it that way because that's how we've always done it. Let's take a fresh approach at it and let's get maybe a little bit more efficient.
Technology, honestly, like we've got 2 interns. Well, they're not interns. We call them like part-time employees at the moment. They happen to be going to university in the other part of their time. And they're great. Like they're energetic, they're enthusiastic, they ask questions, they want to impress. They've all been onboarded digitally. I've never met them face to face. And they're all in Sydney, but the fresh set of eyes on that stuff. And like if they do stay after, and I take a different approach to that too. If they do stay after they finish their degree, then that's great. If they don't, they've still added value, because I look at it like, what are they adding? Like they're doing some administration stuff and they're taking the tasks and they're learning and they're growing. They're adding value because they're adding thoughts and energy and dynamics to the team, but not a massive cost to the business. But gee, and you probably look at it and go, I can't see the direct ROI today. They've only been in this sort of a couple of weeks, but if they stay around, they are going to be fantastic culturally for the business longer term.
And I do think too that energy and enthusiasm level is infectious, right? Because it is easy for long-term staff to get a little bit jaded, a little bit tired, and then you get that little burst of energy, and it's actually quite refreshing to a whole team. I've seen that happen quite a lot too.
So they throw different ideas. We have, we have like this podcast, another podcast that we're developing at the moment, and we're all like challenging, or just throwing up some ideas on what to call it. And we put them into the chat, and they come up with left thinking, like out of the box stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I want to just go back a second. A few minutes ago, were you saying that you want to have 12,000 grads in over the next 12 months? How many? That's clearly not all doing financial planning degrees. What are the numbers? How many people are studying financial planning at the moment?
Oh, that's a good one. And like I see numbers, like there was I'm not even going to reference. It was a public article a couple of weeks ago in a magazine saying that their numbers are up and we're flush with people studying financial planning and so forth. It's not true. It's just not true. And I think there was a piece that I wrote in the advisor ratings report that said that there's 300 people undergraduates graduating with a financial planning degree a year. I feel like that feels a bit too high as well.
Nationally, around the whole country.
Nationally, and out of that, only 50% of them are entering the profession. So if you're doing your maths on that, and then you said, I heard Alisdair say that they only represent 5 to 7% of people on the platform. So if 150 are in the profession, and we'll only put our name on 7% of them, because we want to make sure that we're getting the best into the marketplace, then that is like 10, right?
Not enough.
And we're putting 10 in a month, so it's not enough, and there's a massive gap. But here's where the gap is, right? So if that's the pool, and there's only 10 people that we would put our name to, and then there's 400 firms fighting over them, then we're all of a sudden going to be hiring people with a piece of paper based on that piece of paper, not on the things that are really important to privately owned business, which is culture, fit, drive, determination, all the things that are really, really important. And what I know in my experience over 8 years of doing this is making poor people decisions has a massive impact on the business, and you know that as well.
Yeah.
So how do we combat that? So that's the approved degree into financial planning. If you say the relevant degree into financial planning, it's a different story. So if you're looking at 3 years before they're going to be a fully fledged financial planner in your business, T-1 for professional year, it's 2 years. If they have a relevant degree and they do some additional study along the way to bridge the gaps to get them approved in the 2 years before they go into the professional year, then you're good. And then all of a sudden, not 150, you're going out to 30,000 because you've got economics, accounting, finance, these sort of degrees all come into fashion. And then if you're broadening it out to that, and so our role at Strive is about raising awareness of financial planning as a career, because not many people know about it. It's not bad press that makes them not want to come. It's just they don't have awareness that this is a thing. And then if we have that group of people, then as a business, you can say, right, what are the cultural aspects, or what am I actually looking for in a person that's good fit? And if we can get that we can train the skill.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? And I'm sure lots of people are listening to this, and then my brain has just gone to, I will use your services, Alisdair, because I love what you're doing for the overall profession, even though, yes, it helps you build your business, but you are getting this career in front of people that might not otherwise have done it. And that's a massive impact on our long-term sustainability of the profession. So I just want to say thank you for doing that, by the way, because we need all the help we can get. So let's get into detail then. Firstly, people can get part-time people through you. Do you only put people in their final year, or if they want to do part-time work while they're completing their studies?
Yeah, we do all paid, right? You must pay the people that we work with. So, but yeah, like in the perfect world, and this is part of our value proposition to the students that we work with, is get your job, get 3 days a week and full-time through holidays in your final year or whatever, so that when you finish your degree, you can go off backpacking within your local government area, and then come back and start your career in a full-time job. Like, that's nirvana, right? Getting experience while you're still studying. Most of our clients are kind of like, well, we need to see them, they're going to be full-time in the not too unforeseeable future. But yeah, that's good for business cash flow. Try before you buy, get experience, give a little, like I said about our couple that we spend some time with, they're fantastic. If we are their choice of employer at the end of it, then fantastic. If not, then we feel like we've given them something and they're better for it, and that's a good feeling.
Yeah. So okay, let's then just shift thinking. Great, you could bring people on part-time, and I also see this as a really good again, if you're communicating with your staff really well. Let's say if you've got someone that's going to be going on maternity leave, or somebody that's planning on, doing some more study and cutting back to part-time, you can really build out your workforce, bring somebody on part-time, and then they can learn and then grow. One thing I know that you have done in the past, and so some people who may be familiar with you might know about this, your speed dating. Do you still do that?
Don't call it speed dating. So it's speed networking. No,
sorry,
like speed dating, because they can kind of.
Actually, that's really bad.
We do more of it now, and so obviously, as the world changed, we were doing sort of 12 face-to-face networking events where we'd take a bunch of businesses and a bunch of our strivers, and we'd basically sit everyone down, and everybody would rotate and have 6 or 7 minutes with everybody. It was great, and at the end, the businesses go, "That was fantastic," and I met Tom, Dick, and Harry. Let's meet them, and away they go. And then they give them a job.
At the end would say, I liked these 3 or 4 people, and then the employers went, I like the 3 or 4 students, and then you kind of match them up, right?
Yeah. So let's take it back again. So we take the bunch of strivers that we like, and so yes, we still do it digitally, right? So now we do more of it. We do kind of one every 2 weeks now. We're doing like 23 or something a year, all around the place. And so basically, we'll have 6 candidates that come along. They're all strivers, so they've been through that process. All their profiles are on our platform, and we'll take 6 businesses, and basically we'll create 6 rooms, and we rotate that the strivers all around the room, so everyone gets 6 minutes with everyone. So we'll do 36 mini interviews in an hour. So the business then gets a chance to, instead of doing 6-hour or half-hour Zoom meetings or face-to-face interviews, they come along. Some of them will come with a glass of wine. We try and make it late in the day, and they sit there for an hour, and they have 6 chirpy conversations with young new entrants to the profession, or new entrants to the profession, and that we create a fun and energetic environment on purpose, so that people kind of relax, and then they get to view other people in a comfortable environment. Because worst thing that you want to do is be sitting there in a suit and tie and call the CEO of a firm and have have a university graduate come to you and it's absolutely petrified of the situation, right? Because you're not going to see what they really like. You're just going to see them petrified, and that's not a good thing. So we create this environment that's highly energetic, and then the firm can sit there and go, I spent an hour and I did 6 interviews, and Mary and Peter and John, we want to see them. Or we just want to see Mary and Peter, and we'll bring them in for a formal interview next Tuesday. And it's just a really good additional litmus test and shortlisting exercise.
So, all right. So I'm convinced I want to get a striver into my business. What's the process that I would go through as an advice firm? How much does it cost me? What are you going to do?
Yeah. So the second thing that is part of our DNA is making this as simple as possible, quick and simple and painless, right? So we do least everything we do, especially with the technology, is about take friction away from it. So you go and set up a profile on our platform. It's kind of 4 questions. I think it's multi-choice. It's straight through. We outsource all the connection with you. We get a few bits of information to be able to put in front of you, relevant talent based on a few sort of key areas, and then you can, like car sales or a domain or stuff, you can use the filters on a global search to narrow down what you're looking for. And then you basically say, I want to meet Mary and Peter and Jane. And then we arrange interviews for you, and we get them in front of you, and we do all that sort of stuff. So on the platform, you can see their psychometrics, their CVs, their personality, what's driving them and so forth. You can review their whole profile. All of that costs nothing. Where we do cost, there's a fee. Our rack rate is $5,000. Obviously, there's the Evolve Alliance discount there. If you hire, only if you hire. So there's no engagement fee. There's no ongoing fee. It's no obligation. It's only if there's a successful outcome, because that's what we want to deliver. We don't want to deliver anything else.
Fantastic. So it's optional to attend those speed networking
Yeah,
sessions?
they're an invite thing. So if you want to come to them, then you get, if you're part of our sort of, if you have a profile on platform, you get first dibs at those events. We roll them, as regularly as we can. We'll probably look to, as we build out the team, do them weekly. There's a little bit of sort of logistics that's involved, but at the moment we're doing them fortnightly. So we're doing them all the time. You can check out our LinkedIn and all our socials. We post on them all with a lot of fun. Great.
And so the big the big objection, right, that I might be thinking if I was negative right now, is I could go, well, what's the difference? So $5,000 to get a grad through you guys. Why wouldn't I just get an intern? All the universities put their grads through an internship. I think you've already answered this question, but I'm sure some people might be thinking it anyway. But why wouldn't I just get an intern out of uni and give them a crack for free before I then hire?
Yeah, well, the first thing is, if you do that, that's fantastic. That's fantastic, because, as we said, we're about net growth of the profession. And if you're getting people into the profession's growing for it, then we're fundamentally excited by that. So that's great. And, I would also put out a challenge to the profession right now that do not take people, unless they're getting credits to their degree, make sure you're paying them, and you're paying them award wage. There's too much of this unpaid, elongated unpaid. They should work for free. No. Okay, so that's my sort of high horse. But yeah, every university has work integrated learning, which means that they'll come and they can do a period of 100 to 150 hours through you. You can contact the university direct on that. It's experience learning, so you need to do, there's a few checks and balances. You don't have to pay them. The university gives them credit to the degree. And if you're not paying them, the university is covering their workers' compensation. Or that's great. And that's actually part of their curriculum. So that's something that you can do, and no one should charge you for that. That's part of the university offering, and they all do that. And you can use that to hire or so forth. I mean, what we bring is a service that says we do sorting, the filtering to get people into your firm as a permanent employee. We make it quick, we make it easy, and we make it simple. And if your core capability isn't sorting through CVs and posting CCADs and so forth, then we're the quick and easy sort of process for you. We're there all the time. We're at call. We do nothing else but this. And we're not naive either. We understand that people will look at their internal networks. They'll look at online job boards. And then, if that becomes more difficult, they'll go, okay, cool, we'll go to someone like Striver. I don't know if there's anyone else like Striver, but they'll come to us and they'll pay a bit of a premium for the service that we offer. But you don't need to do that either. So it's a service offering. We find that we have clients that can't find people. They find them quickly through Striver, and then they just know that they can turn us on when they need us.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And now Andrew mentioned before in his testimonial that he regularly joins a grad mentoring session. What's that about?
Speed networking.
Oh, that's what he was talking about. Yeah, right. So he's always keeping an eye on new talent coming through.
Yeah, so our speed networking, like one of the things that everybody wants, and I've talked to you about this too, is mentoring, right? And giving back a bit. And so one of the things we're really passionate about is letting, like, for me to get time with you, Sue's hard, right? But if you came to one of my events and 6 of our candidates got 5 minutes with Sue, the value that they get out of that is like bigger than you imagine. And so we sort of, we open that opportunity up on our mentoring events, our speed networking events for people who just want to come and just like give some direction or give some time back to some of these young budding people who are, aspirationally excited about the profession they're about to enter. And most people, over the years coming away from those events have gone like, they're so positive. This event's so, there's nothing negative. There's no beat down here. It's just all positivity. And that's the role of a mentor here, not to come in here to say it's a bad place, to say what a great place and here's the value that it adds to the community.
Yes. Well, I will be adding that to my giving back contributions in the next 12 months, Ali, because I think it's incredibly important that we get really great new fresh people into this fabulous profession. Is there anything else, Ali, that we should leave people with? If there are, I'm sure by now they'll be going, oh, why would I want to recruit a new person any other way?
Well, I like to leave it always that, one of the things is that the reason why we don't have a really big group of people studying financial planning and coming into this profession is not, I believe the fundamental reason is they just don't know this is a career. So I think it's our responsibility as professionals in this profession to talk about this profession as a great place to set yourself up in the career, because that doesn't happen. When we explain it as sort of, taking people on a journey and being a relationship manager on people's sort of drive to a great outcome, they open up and they're really fascinated by this profession. So I think the number one role that we should play as professionals is talking about the profession as a great place to set up a career to everybody that will listen, but mainly to those people that are looking for what are they going to be when they grow up, because I think it's a great conversation starter.
I absolutely 1,000% agree with that statement, Alisdair. It's indeed. And as we often talk about it, it is a noble profession. You're changing lives, and who wouldn't want to get involved in that? Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for your time, Ali. For anybody that is wanting to reach out and check out the Striver platform, what is the web address?
Striver.careers. We'll put I'll give you the links that could get you straight through, but Striver.careers and join the tribe, set up a profile. It's less than a minute and you'll be on there and you'll be able to see what we do.
I have done it with a number of my clients in strategy sessions, and it's amazing the level of detail and depth you can find out about these candidates very, very quickly from the comfort of your own boardroom or lounge room if you choose, and then you can continue discussions from there. Thanks so much for your time, Ali. thoroughly recommend anybody who is looking to bring in new, fresh talent into their business to put Striver at the very top of their list when they're starting to look, because it'll save you a bunch of time and heartache. And you've already done a lot of the work, Ali. So again, thanks very much for your contribution.
Thank you.